The valley was quiet. Mist covered the ground like a thick, moving blanket. Tall trees with purple leaves swayed gently in the wind. Birds Kai had never seen before flew through the sky, making soft, echoing sounds. Kai stepped out of the broken cockpit of his small cargo ship, coughing from the smoke. He looked around the strange alien world he had crash-landed on. His ship had been hit by a meteor shower while flying through an uncharted system. The damage was too much, and now he was stranded. His suit was working, the air was breathable, and gravity felt normal. But the place was completely unknown. He checked his comms unit, no signal, no connection to anyone. He was alone. Kai was not a soldier or explorer. He was just a cargo pilot, someone who delivered supplies from one colony to another. He never signed up for this. Great, he muttered. Of all the planets in the galaxy, I land on the one that looks like a haunted dream. He grabbed his survival pack, slung it over his shoulder, and began walking. He followed a narrow path between the trees, hoping to find shelter or at least higher ground to send a signal. The sun, or whatever star lit this world, was low in the sky. Shadows stretched long and twisted across the foggy forest. After about an hour of walking, he stopped. His eyes narrowed. In the distance stood a group of large stone statues, half covered in moss. They were humanoid, tall figures with smooth features and strange symbols carved into their bodies. Something about them felt familiar. He walked closer and touched one of the statues. A soft pulse went through his fingers, like a heartbeat. He pulled his hand back quickly. What was that? There was no answer, just the wind and the soft sounds of leaves rustling. The forest felt alive, as if it were watching him. He noticed something else. The ground near the statues had been cleared, as if someone had been walking here. The dirt was pressed down into paths. These weren't ruins. They were being used. Suddenly, he heard a soft sound behind him. He turned quickly. Out of the mist came a figure. Tall, graceful, and wearing silver and blue robes that shimmered as she moved. Her skin was a pale purplish blue. Her eyes glowed softly. No, not glowing. Just bright. Like stars. She had small, elf-like ears and long silver hair that flowed behind her like a waterfall. Kai froze. The woman walked slowly with no fear. Her hands were empty, raised slightly in peace. When she reached him, she did something no alien had ever done before. She hugged him. It wasn't a quick hug. It was long, soft, warm, filled with emotion. Kai stood stiff, unsure what to do. Then, the woman whispered into his ear in a voice full of relief and wonder. "I've finally found you, my human." His heart pounded. He had never met her. Never seen her face. So why did her voice make him feel safe? She stepped back and looked at him. Her eyes shimmered like water under moonlight. She smiled, but her smile carried years of sadness and hope. "I don't understand," Kai said slowly. "Who are you?" "My name is Soraya," she said gently. "Queen of the Lirathi. And you are the one we've waited for." Kai blinked. "Queen? Waited for? Me? No. You have the wrong person. I'm not anyone special." Soraya looked at him with calm certainty. "You carry the bond, the ancient thread that connects our kind to yours. We believed it was lost, but now I see it in you." He stepped back, confused. "I don't even know what you're talking about." "You will, in time," she said. "But for now you must come with me. It is not safe here." Kai looked around. The forest didn't seem dangerous, but something in her tone made him trust her. "All right," he said. "Lead the way." As they walked through the misty forest, Kai asked questions, but Soraya gave few answers. She only told him he was important, and that her people had hidden for many years. As the mist thinned, a large city revealed itself behind the trees. It was built into the cliffs and glowing softly with natural lights, torches, crystals, and moving water. It looked both ancient and advanced. The people there, tall, elegant, and calm, bowed to Soraya as she passed. Some looked at Kai with wide eyes, whispering among themselves. He felt like a walking mystery. Soraya led him into a temple carved into a stone mountain. Inside were more statues like the ones in the forest. In the center was a pool of water reflecting the stars, though there was no sky above. "This is the heart of memory," she said. "Place your hand in the water." Kai hesitated, then slowly knelt and touched the surface. The moment his fingers dipped in, images filled his mind, visions of old wars, of humans and Lirathi fighting side by side, of pacts and promises made long ago. He saw a human who looked almost like him, bonded to a queen just like Soraya. He gasped and pulled back. "That was impossible." Soraya nodded. "You are his echo, his legacy. And now you are here." Kai stood up, shaken. "I still don't know what all this means." She walked closer and gently touched the center of his palm. A faint symbol began to appear, an ancient mark glowing softly under the skin. The same mark was on her hand. "You may not understand yet," she said softly, "but you were not sent here by chance." Kai stared at the mark. He didn't believe in destiny. But this felt real. "I think you have the wrong guy," he whispered. She smiled again, and this time her eyes held tears. "Even if you don't believe in fate, fate believes in you." The stone walls of the temple felt warm, as if they held the breath of the past. Kai sat on a soft mat made of woven silk-like material, staring at the symbol on his hand. It hadn't faded. It remained clear, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. A match to Queen Soraya's. He had stopped shaking, but his mind was still racing. Soraya knelt beside him. Her presence was calming, like quiet music after a storm. "You feel it, don't you?" she asked softly. Kai nodded slowly. "It's like something woke up inside me. But it doesn't make sense. I don't remember any of this. I've never even heard of your people." "That's not your fault," she said. "The history was hidden, erased by those who feared the bond between our kinds." Kai looked at her. "What is this bond, really? Why me?" Soraya looked toward the glowing pool of memory. Her voice became low, like she was telling a story passed down through generations. "Thousands of years ago, your ancestors came from the stars. They found us when we were still young as a people. They didn't conquer us. They helped us grow, shared knowledge, language, and peace. From that unity, something rare was born, a spiritual connection, a thread of life that could form only between a Lirathi and a human." She paused, then added, "We call it the soul mark." Kai whispered, "The mark on my hand." She nodded. "Yes, it's not something that can be forced. It must awaken by itself when the time is right." Kai frowned. "So what does it do? Make me a chosen one or something?" Soraya shook her head gently. "No, it does not make you better than others. But it gives you a special role, one of balance, healing, and leadership in times of darkness. And darkness is coming." That last part made Kai's heart skip. "Wait, what do you mean by that? What kind of darkness?" She looked into his eyes. "A race called the Trovax. You'll hear their name more soon. They control many systems now. They hate the idea of harmony between our kinds. Long ago they attacked us, trying to break the bond forever. They failed, but barely. Now they've returned stronger, and they fear your presence." Kai took a deep breath. He wasn't ready to hear this. He was a cargo pilot, not a warrior, not a leader. He looked at the mark again. It didn't care what he thought. It simply was. "But I'm not trained for this," he said. "That's why you must stay," Soraya said. "You will learn, and we will protect you." The days that followed felt like living inside a dream. Kai stayed in the Queen's palace, made of shining stone and silver vines that grew up the walls. It was quiet but alive with soft energy. He was given clothes, simple, elegant robes made for movement. Food tasted strange but good, sweet and sharp at once. The Lirathi people were kind, but curious. They watched him closely, whispered to one another when he passed. He felt like a walking legend from their stories. Soraya assigned him a guide, a young Lirathi named Ryle. He had calm eyes and always spoke carefully. "You feel lost," Ryle said one afternoon, as they walked through. "A garden filled with floating petals, a bit," Kai admitted. "That's normal. Even our queen felt the same when the bond awakened for her." Kai stopped walking. "She has the mark too?" "Yes, but it remained dim until you arrived. When you touched the memory pool, her mark flared with light. It was the sign we had waited generations to see." Kai sat on a stone bench. "This is too much. I don't want to be the center of anything. I just want to get back home." Ryle tilted his head. "Maybe your home is bigger than you thought." That night, Kai dreamt again. But these weren't normal dreams. They were clear, sharp, and felt real. He stood in a great hall filled with light. Humans and Lirathi stood together, their hands joined. At the center stood a man with the same mark on his hand, only older, battle-scarred and proud. Next to him stood a woman, the spitting image of Soraya. In the dream, the man turned to Kai and spoke, "Do not run from what you are. Remember what we built. Remember why." Kai woke up with a gasp. He was sweating, heart racing. He touched his chest and realized he wasn't just dreaming. These were memories, passed through the soul mark. Somehow, part of that ancient man lived in him. He dressed quickly and ran to find Soraya. The queen was standing in the temple garden looking up at the stars. She didn't turn when he approached. "I saw them again," Kai said, out of breath. "The old ones. I think they're me, or part of me." She turned now, her face calm. "Yes. It is how the bond remembers. It does not let go of truth. It carries it through time. What you saw was the last age of unity." He stepped closer. "Why do I remember now?" "Because your soul is ready," she said. "And the stars have started to shift." Just then, a guard came rushing into the garden, armor clinking softly. "Your Majesty," he said with urgency. "A scout ship just landed at the edge of the forest. It bears Trovax markings." Kai stiffened. "They found me already." Soraya looked toward the dark trees. "Not you. Us. But they will know you're here soon enough." She looked back at Kai. Her eyes didn't blink. "You must be careful. If they realize the soul mark has awakened, they'll try to erase you. Not just as a man, but as a symbol." Kai clenched his fists. "I didn't ask for this, but I won't hide." She smiled sadly. "I hoped you would say that." By morning, the whole city had changed. Scouts watched the skies, guards patrolled the gates. The peaceful mountain home now buzzed with quiet tension. Kai stood beside Soraya as she looked over a map of the forest paths. "The Trovax will not attack yet," she said. "They will observe. Search for weakness." Kai looked around at the people. "Do they know why I'm here?" "They know enough," she replied. "And most believe in you." He sighed. "I wish I believed in myself like that." She stepped closer and placed her hand gently over his. "Then let me believe, for both of us." The sun rose behind the mountain city, spreading golden light across the silver towers and crystal domes. But the warmth it brought did not reach the hearts of the people. There was tension in the air, fear that the Trovax, an old enemy, had finally found them. Kai stood on a high balcony beside Queen Soraya. From there, they could see the green valley below, and beyond that, the forest edge where the enemy scout ship had landed. "They are watching us," Soraya said, her voice calm but firm. Kai narrowed his eyes. "They came for me, didn't they?" "Yes," she replied. "But it's not only you they fear. They fear what you represent." Kai frowned. "The bond?" Soraya nodded. "They want the galaxy to stay divided. The bond reminds others that unity once existed. If the soul mark is seen again, others might rise up. That's what they fear the most. Hope. Kai looked down at the valley. So what do we do? We prepare, Soraya said. We must protect the city, and we must protect you. Later that morning, Kai followed Ryle, his guide and friend, to the training grounds. There were no guns or heavy machines there, only tall pillars, open courtyards, and strange glowing stones. I thought we'd be using weapons, Kai said. We will, Ryle replied. But first you must learn how to use the soul mark. Kai raised an eyebrow. How can a symbol be a weapon? It's not just a symbol, Ryle said. It's a bridge. Between thought and energy. Between soul and action. If you can focus your mind, the soul mark can help you control the ancient energy shared by humans and Lirathi. Kai didn't really understand, but he trusted Ryle. All right, he said. Let's begin. The training was slow at first. Kai had to sit still for hours, breathing in rhythm, trying to feel the energy of the bond. He felt silly. Nothing happened. But Ryle was patient. Don't force it, he said. Let it come to you. On the third day, something changed. While meditating near the glowing stones, Kai's hand began to feel warm. He opened his eyes and saw the soul mark shining, faintly. A nearby stone lifted off the ground and floated in the air. Kai gasped. You did it, Ryle said with a smile. It was like my heartbeat reached out and touched it, Kai said, amazed. Ryle nodded. That's the bond waking up. That night the dream came again. Kai stood in the ruins of a great city. Fires burned in the distance. A voice spoke to him. Do not let the past repeat. You have the power to change it. He turned and saw the man again, the one from before. The same soul mark, the same eyes. Kai reached out to him, but the dream faded. The next morning, Soraya called for Kai. He followed her into the temple hall where a council of elders waited. They stood in a circle, faces serious. We must decide how to face the Trovaks, Soraya said. One elder spoke first. We cannot fight them. We should hide. Another shook her head. They will find us anyway. We must strike first. Soraya raised her hand. Enough. We will listen to Kai. Kai's eyes widened. Me? You are part of this now, she said. And you carry the memory of those who came before. Speak freely. Kai hesitated, then stepped forward. I don't know much about war, he said, but I've seen what happens when you run from fear. The Trovaks won't stop. If we show we're afraid, they'll only push harder. He looked around the room. We don't need to attack them, but we do need to show we're not afraid. Defend our city, protect our people, and let them see that the bond is alive. There was silence. Then the elder who had first spoken nodded. He speaks wisely. Soraya smiled. Then we prepare for defense. Over the next few days, the city came alive with movement. Watchtowers were repaired. Barriers were raised. Scouts kept watch in the trees. And Kai trained harder than ever. His control grew stronger. He could now lift objects with his mind, create shields of energy, and even see brief flashes of danger before it happened. It felt like learning to breathe again, but deeper. One evening, while practicing near the cliff edge, he saw something strange. A silver bird landed near him, carrying a small message tied to its leg. It was written in old human language, too. The one who bears the soul mark. They are coming. Tonight. He ran to Soraya at once. She read the message and her face turned serious. It's from one of the old Watchers, she said. A human who stayed hidden among the stars. They still believe. Kai swallowed. Then it's true. The Trovaks will attack tonight. Soraya stood tall. Then we will be ready. Night fell. The stars above were clear, but there was a strange silence in the air. The people of the city gathered behind their walls. Soraya stood on the highest tower, dressed in royal armor made of silver and blue. Kai stood beside her, his soul mark glowing bright. Then they came. Black ships cut through the sky like blades. Troops landed in the forest and began to move forward. Their armor was dark and sharp, their eyes cold. A voice rang out from their leader, echoing through machines. "Give us the human. Give us the queen, and we will spare your people." Soraya stepped forward. "This is our home, and he is one of us." Kai raised his hand, and the light of the soul mark exploded outward like a wave. The Trovax commander stepped back in shock. The energy passed over the forest, lighting the trees in a strange glow. Then the battle began. The Lerathi warriors fought with grace and speed, using energy weapons and shields. The Trovax came with machines, but the terrain slowed them. Kai moved through the battlefield, using his soul mark to protect the wounded, deflect attacks, and even knock down enemy walkers. In the middle of the fight, Soraya fought the enemy commander directly. They clashed sword to sword, energy flying, with every strike. She was skilled, but he was strong. Then he saw Kai, and turned his weapon on him. Soraya screamed, "Kai!" The commander fired. Soraya threw herself in front of the blast. There was a bright flash of light, and Soraya disappeared. Kai fell to his knees. No. His soul mark flared like never before. A wave of energy rushed from him, knocking down the entire enemy force. The battlefield fell silent. The Trovax, shocked and broken, retreated, but Soraya was gone. Smoke rose above the valley. The sky, once bright with stars, now looked dull with ashes floating through the air. The Lerathi city had survived, but the cost was heavy, and Soraya was gone. Kai stood in the middle of the battlefield, unmoving. His robe was torn, and his skin covered in dirt and blood, but he felt none of it. All he could see was the moment she vanished, her body shielding him, the light exploding, and then emptiness. "She's gone," he whispered, his voice breaking. Ryle approached quietly from behind, his face pale and his armor scratched. "We don't know that," he said. "The energy that burst out, it wasn't just destruction. It was something else." Kai looked down at his hand. The soul mark still glowed, but now it had changed. A faint second line had appeared beside, the mark swirling gently like a ribbon of silver. It felt warm, alive. "She saved me," Kai said, "and now I have to save her." Ryle placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we must search. There's one place where the bond might still reach her." Back in the city, the council gathered. The elders were injured, tired, but still strong. Kai stood before them, feeling their eyes on him. "We've won the battle," one of them said, "but we've lost our queen." "No," Kai said, louder than he meant to. "She's not dead. I felt her. When the blast hit, I felt her soul pass through me. She didn't vanish. She changed." The room was silent. "I'm going after her," Kai said, "whatever it takes." The elders looked at one another. "There is a place," an old woman finally said. "The Temple of Echoes. It lies beyond the silent plains, where the living and the lost sometimes meet. It's dangerous." Kai nodded. "Tell me how to get there." Ryle joined him on the journey. They left the city at dawn, riding sleek creatures like deer with glowing horns. The silent plains were cold and quiet, a land of white stone and thin air. No wind, no birds, only silence. It took 2 days to reach the temple. It stood tall, built into the side of a mountain, its entrance a giant arch glowing with blue symbols. Kai walked toward it slowly. The closer he got, the stronger his soul mark pulsed. It felt like a heartbeat calling out for someone. "Do you feel her?" Ryle asked. "Yes," Kai whispered. "She's here. Somewhere." Inside the temple, soft lights flickered along the walls. Pools of clear water reflected not faces, but memories. As Kai stepped forward, one pool showed him Soraya as a child, training with her mother. Another showed her standing alone on a battlefield, waiting. And another showed her first meeting with Kai in the misty forest. Tears filled his eyes. She remembered all of it. A voice echoed through the hall. She never forgot. Kai turned quickly, but no one stood there. Who's there? The bond still lives, the voice said. You have come far, human. Are you ready to give everything? Kai took a deep breath. Yes. A great light filled the room. The walls shook. The floor cracked open, revealing a deep chamber below. Kai and Ryle descended slowly down a spiral path. At the center was a crystal sphere, floating in the air. Inside it was Soraya. She looked peaceful, as if asleep, wrapped in energy like silk threads. The soul mark on her hand glowed faintly. Kai ran toward the sphere, but was stopped by a sudden force. It pushed him back. Ryle shouted, "The bond is strong, but it must be complete to wake her." Kai didn't understand. What do I do? Remember, Ryle said, his voice urgent. Remember everything. Let the bond guide you. Speak from the soul. Kai stepped forward again and placed his palm on the sphere. He closed his eyes. Soraya, I didn't understand at first. I thought I was just a lost pilot. But you made me feel seen. You trusted me when I didn't trust myself. You believed in me. His mark began to glow brighter. You gave everything to protect me. Now I give you my strength, my soul. Come back. The glow spread across the chamber. Inside the sphere, Soraya's eyes opened slowly. She blinked, confused, then smiled. Kai gasped. Soraya. The sphere cracked. The energy burst into light, and Soraya fell forward into Kai's arms. She was warm, alive. You found me again, she whispered, her voice weak but filled with emotion. Kai held her tightly. I'll always find you. They returned to the city days later. The people gathered in the square, eyes wide with wonder. When they saw Soraya alive, they dropped to their knees. Some wept. Others clapped their hands in joy. The elders stood, in silence, then bowed to Kai and Soraya. You are the bond reborn, the elder woman said, and your unity has awakened more than just memories. It has brought back hope. Later that night, Kai and Soraya stood together under the stars. The Trovacs will return, she said softly. They always do. Kai looked up at the sky. Then we'll be ready. Together. She turned to him. You are no longer just a visitor here, Kai. This is your world too. He smiled. Then let's protect it. She reached for his hand and placed it gently over her heart. Our story is only beginning. The stars were quiet again. For a brief moment, the galaxy felt still. But deep in space, the Trovacs were gathering. Their defeat at the Larathi city was not the end. It was only the beginning. Back on the mountain, the city stood proud, no longer hiding. Its walls were rebuilt. The banners of the Larathi flew high, now with a new symbol beside them, the mark of the soul bond. Kai stood with Soraya in the royal hall. The light from the stained glass windows painted soft colors across their faces. She wore her ceremonial robes once more, her crown gently resting over her flowing silver hair. She looked strong, alive, radiant. You gave them something they hadn't felt in years, she said softly. Hope. Kai looked down at his hand. The soul mark had changed again. It was brighter, sharper, complete. I didn't mean to become a symbol, he said. I just didn't want to lose you. She smiled. Sometimes that's all a symbol is. A promise not to give up. Over the following weeks, messages began arriving from across nearby systems. Small colonies, hidden planets, secret outposts. They had seen the light from the battle. Some had even felt it. The bond had sent a signal not just across the sky, but through the soul. They were not alone. One by one, old allies of the Larathi sent word. Other races that had once believed in unity. Other humans who had escaped the fall of the First Alliance. They came with stories, with warnings, and with hope. A new council formed, with Soraya as the guiding light and Kai at her side. He was still learning, still not used to being called protector of the bond. But he accepted it. Rael often said, "You don't need to be perfect, you just need to stay true." Kai liked that, but peace never lasted long. Scouts reported the Trovax building a new base on a nearby moon. They were testing weapons, building faster ships. And this time, they had leaders who spoke openly about wiping out the soul bond forever. Kai stood before the council with a clear voice. "We can't wait for them to attack again," he said. "This time, we must show them what unity really means." A plan formed not for war but for proof. "We won't send an army," Soraya said. "We'll send a message." So they prepared the Unity Fleet, a group of ships carrying Lerathi, humans, and others who believed in peace. Their goal wasn't to destroy, it was to reveal that the old bond was alive. That fear would no longer rule the stars. Kai walked through the launch bay of the new Unity ship, a sleek silver vessel named the Echo. As he passed, crew members saluted him. Lerathi warriors, human pilots, engineers from other systems, all working together. He still wasn't used to being called captain, but Rael insisted on it. "You don't fly the ship," Rael joked. "But you lead the way." Soraya joined him near the bridge. Her presence brought calm, as always. "Are you ready?" she asked. Kai looked out the glass toward the stars. "I don't think anyone's ever really ready, but yes," she touched his arm. "Then let's fly." The Echo jumped through space, heading straight for the moon base. They expected resistance, but instead, they were met by silence. Trovax ships floated nearby, engines off, weapons cold. As, if waiting, a message came through. "You carry the mark," a deep voice said. "Speak." Kai stepped forward. "I am Kai of Earth, bound to Soraya of the Lerathi. We come not with fire, but with truth." Silence. Then the Trovax leader appeared on screen. His face was stern, with dark lines running down his cheeks. "You are the one from the old bond," he said. "The one we feared." Kai didn't flinch. "You feared unity. You feared peace. But that fear is ending now." "We are not afraid anymore," the Trovax said. "We are curious." That word surprised Kai. "We watched the battle," the Trovax leader continued. "Your bond did not bring chaos, it stopped it." Soraya stepped beside Kai. "It brought strength, not for one race, but for all." The Trovax leader stared at them, then nodded slowly. "Then speak your terms." No blood was spilled that day, no weapons fired. But it became one of the most important days in galactic history. The Trovax agreed to a ceasefire. They opened talks. They allowed the Unity Fleet to send messages across their systems. And slowly, very slowly, fear turned into questions, and questions into understanding. Back on the Lerathi homeworld, celebrations filled the sky with lights. Music played in the streets. Children wore drawn versions of the soul mark on their hands. Kai stood once more in the Temple of Echoes. The pool was still, reflecting stars even during the day. Rael walked up beside him. "You did it." "No," Kai said. "We did." Soraya approached. "It's time." He turned to her. "Time. For what?" "For the truth to become legend," she said, smiling, "and for the legend to lead the way." That night, a ceremony was held, not to crown anyone, but to honor the bond. Kai and Soraya stood before thousands. The soul mark glowed brightly on both their hands. "This isn't the end," Kai said to the crowd. "It's the beginning." Soraya raised her voice. "Let this mark remind us that peace is not weakness, that unity is not a dream, and that no matter how far we fall, there is always a path back." The people cheered. Lights filled the sky like stars falling in reverse. Kai turned to Soraya. "Do you remember what you said when we first met?" he asked. She smiled. "Yes. I hugged you and said, 'I've finally found you, my human.'" He smiled back. "And now I say it to you. I've finally found home." They stood together under the stars, the human and the alien queen, not by chance, but by bond.